Hey friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on my channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of that sounds like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. Today's video is a collaboration hosted by Melissa at I'm Merely Melissa and Christy at Christy's Farmhouse. I'm going to have both of their channels linked down below in the description box, along with a link to the playlist that corresponds to this collab, so that once you've watched my videos, you could see what all my friends prepared. So this is part of a series of monthly collabs that Christy and Melissa are hosting, each of them, of course, with their own spin and different theme. You all know I love a theme. And this month, we are all sharing Valentine's Day themed desserts. If you're new to my channel, welcome. But also, you might not know that I eat gluten and dairy-free exclusively, and I have for very many years. So at least for the last couple of years, every single video on my channel whenever I cook is gluten and dairy-free, and sometimes I even go an extra mile and make them flat out paleo. Paleo recipes are easy for me to make because they are naturally gluten and dairy free, and so I don't have to make any math, substituting anything, or trying to adapt. It's just all right there ready to go for me. So I decided that I would try a brand new recipe this year for Valentine's Day. These are called strawberry and cream bars, and they are in fact paleo, making them naturally gluten and dairy free. And this particular recipe is also vegan. So if you're looking for a vegan cheesecake, you're in the right place. Now, the thing about brand new recipes and me sharing them on my channel is they tend to be an experiment, right? You never know how they're going to turn out. Sometimes they're fantastic and sometimes not so much. But I always like to share even when there's a fail, because I feel like maybe you'll see what I did and you might have a brainstorm that makes you go, aha, I would do this differently, and then we all learn from each other's mistakes. That being said, I don't think that this recipe was a fail at all. I think it was absolutely delicious. It just turned out a little differently than I expected, but all the same, I present to you my version, I guess, of these strawberries and cream paleo bars, and you can either make them exactly as I made them, or use this as a jumping off point and kind of tweak it to your liking. Maybe you come up with something entirely different, but either way, I'm sure it'll be delicious. For my strawberries and cream bars, this is all kind of happening in phases, and you are going to need, let's say, at least 12 hours from beginning to end before this is ready to serve, because you do have to refrigerate it for a while. So the first thing I'm going to do, the first thing I did, you might see back here, earlier I took 1.5 cups of raw cashews and I boiled some water, and I've had them soaking for about an hour. I want to soak them for at least a couple hours before I move on in that phase, but that's going to be for our filling. So to start now, I'm going to go ahead and make the crust for our bars. So the recipe originally called for 1 cup of skinned raw hazelnuts, but that would have been a little expensive, and then I would have just had hazelnuts laying around waiting for their time to shine. I don't really cook with hazelnuts much, so I figured I'm just going to go ahead and get more raw cashews, since I was going to get some for the filling anyways. I'll just get some extra. I got this at Sprouts because they let you get them in bulk, so I bought about 1 pound because I wasn't sure how much I needed, since the recipe calls for cups and not pounds or grams or anything. So in total, there's 1.5 cups of cashews for the filling, and I'm gonna need 1 cup for the crust. Also for the crust, I need 1.5 cups of pitted dates. This is a 10-ounce container, so I hope when I measure it out with cups, I'm able to get 1.5 cups. It looks like I will be fine in that regard. And we also need a little pinch of salt. So for the crust, we're really just going to combine our ingredients, which again, 1 cup of the raw nuts, whether you use hazelnuts or cashews, 1.5 cups of the pitted dates, and the pinch of salt. We're going to process them in a food processor until a dough forms, and then I'm going to press it into, I'm using a silicone loaf pan. You can use whatever pan you'd like, really whatever shape you like. I feel like the silicone is going to be easier to remove the whole thing later when we're done. And so we're going to press this into the bottom of our mold, and we're going to chill this in the fridge until I'm ready to make my filling. So again, for me, that means at least another hour. All right, so there might be a reason they wanted hazelnuts instead of cashews. I've been at this for a minute and it's just very crumbly rather than becoming a paste, which is what I expected. But all the same, I've committed. So I'm gonna go ahead and press that into my silicone situation, and hopefully as it cools, it will kind of congeal into one solid mass that should resemble a crust. And if not, we'll have some crumbly crust. No big deal. I'm sure it'll still be delicious. The dates are gonna make it nice and sweet. One way or the other, this is gonna be good. Will it be exactly as expected? Maybe not, but it'll definitely be good. This feels like a lot of crust, like it feels very thick, and it's making me wonder, it's coming up about like almost halfway. It's making me wonder, I've got a second one of these, if I should divide it and make 2 loaf bar things. I don't know how much filling I'm gonna end up with. Maybe not enough for 2 of these, but my gut feeling is that I'd be better off separating this into 2 loaves rather than forcing it all into one. So I think that that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and scoop up half of my mixture roughly. I'm gonna, oh my goodness, I'm gonna go ahead and pour it in here. This is the fun thing about baking, guys, or about cooking generally, is that you get to experiment and see what's what. Maybe this will be an absolute fail, or maybe I'm at the beginning of something incredible that I'm gonna want to make 1,000 times before the year's out. So either way, you guys are getting a front row seat. So we've gone ahead and smushed that down both. I think I need a little more over here, honestly. Put some back. But this does look more, from a ratio perspective, more appropriate for a crust. So I'm going to smush this down, like I said, try to fill in all of the gaps. And now this is going to go into the fridge for at least an hour while we wait for our cashews for the filling to keep soaking. And once that's ready to go, I will bring y'all back so that we can throw the soaked cashews in the food processor again with even more ingredients and make the rest of our strawberry and cream bars. The ingredients for our filling, super simple. So we have our 1.5 cups of cashews back here. They're still soaking. Before I use them, I will drain all the water so that all I'm left with is the actual cashews. I also need a cup of coconut cream, which is the thick part of a can of coconut milk. So I actually bought the coconut cream here, but just to make sure it was extra thick and creamy, I've had this in the fridge since last night so that it would solidify, and I would make sure that of the 13.5 ounces, I would have at least an entire cup of the coconut cream. Also, we need a 1/4 cup of date syrup, which I happen to have on hand. If you can't find this, or if you just happen to have maple syrup on hand and don't want to buy anything, you could use maple syrup instead. So that was a 1/4 cup of this to sweeten it. We also need a cup of strawberries. Frozen is preferred. You could use fresh if you needed to, but frozen, I imagine, is going to give us the texture that we're wanting. I'm going to combine my filling ingredients and blend them in the food processor, which has been cleaned since we made the crust. If you find that yours is a little thick, you can add some more of the coconut cream or milk to kind of loosen it up a little bit. I'm going to pour the filling onto the crust, and I happen to have fresh strawberries, so I'm going to use these as well to kind of decorate on top. I'm just going to wash them, slice them, and try to make a cute little design on top of the bars. We're going to chill this overnight to make sure that it's set, and in the morning we'll slice it up and give it a try. All right, friends, there you have it. Those were my strawberries and cream paleo cheesecake bars. I actually thought they were really, really good. The crust I was hoping would come out a little finer, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and this might be kind of a hot take. I don't really care for crust usually when I'm eating any cheesecake or pie. I know, sacrilege. A lot of people think that's the best part. Me, I could do without completely. So I think I will make this again, but next time I'll probably just make the filling and like serve it in little ramekins or something, because the filling was so good, especially whenever you got a piece of like fresh strawberry mixed in. So like the fresh strawberry was a little tart compared to the sweet strawberry cheesecake filling. It was just very tasty. And the texture is something that if you're used to eating vegan cheesecake in particular, you're going to be used to. If you're new to the lifestyle, it might be a little off-putting until you get used to it. But if you're trying to eat healthier, this is a great place to start. It's always nice to know that you can still have a sweet treat and still stick to your health goals. If you decide to make this recipe for yourself, I'd love for you to come on back and let me know how you liked it. And before you go, I want to remind you to check out that playlist in the description box so you can see what all my friends made this month as well. I want to thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you'd subscribe and click that notification bell, because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Happy Valentine's Day!